guys, CreamCrazy here. Welcome to my WWE Hell in a Cell 2013 predictions video. And if you don't believe me, I'm recording this early. Believe that. Fact of the matter is, I'm busy over this weekend at the London Comic Con, and explains why I'm recording this on a Thursday instead of, well, Saturday. Nonetheless, Hell in a Cell this weekend. The WWE have decided to make this one as big as possible. They've given us 4 quite big matches to focus on, and honestly, they've loaded this pay-per-view up to ensure that we watch. I mean, with 2 Hell in a Cell matches, 1 guest referee who is bound to bring in some star power, a vacant championship, the return of John Cena, and a triple threat tag team match. Seriously, the fact of the matter is, this pay-per-view on paper looks like it could be exciting and very, very intriguing. However, we have no real idea until we watch the damn thing. Hell in a Cell, in the last couple of years it's been on, has not been the best pay-per-view that money can give us, which is one of the reasons why, in many eyes, it is going to be scrapped by the time the pay-per-view is over with. Nonetheless, guys, these are my predictions for the matches here today. First off, we start with Curtis Axel and Big E Langston for the Intercontinental Championship on the pre-show. This irks me a little bit, for one simple reason, and the fact of the matter that this has a little bit of meat to it feud-wise. Big E Langston saving CM Punk from Axel and Ryback attacking him should in turn, for me, as it's a Heyman guy versus CM Punk helper feud, should be on the main card. Why it's not is baffling to me. Why it isn't is ridiculous. And honestly, I find it annoying on almost every level. Then again, the result seems easy to predict. Big E Langston with the IC title. It seems right, knowing how I thought if they were going to push him as a heel or a face, they would give him a championship. They would give him a shot. And they're doing just that. Curtis Axel as champion has been very boring, while his matches have also been very few and far between as champion too. I keep feeling the last couple of times he's wrestled for that championship, he shouldn't therefore be involved as champion anymore. And it would be the right slap in the face to Paul Heyman's idea of a good reality of himself in the WWE by having Big E Langston take the title off him. However, many people have said in recent weeks, in fact, the recent couple of weeks, since Big E Langston has turned face, that it's too early to put a face turn and to put a title on a guy who's just done that. He's just turned face. You can't expect him to win the championship almost instantaneously. But then again, looking at Big E Langston physically, and knowing his agility, his powerful moveset, honestly, he can outpower and outmaneuver Axel in a match if you made it as legitimate as possible. So you know what? I would want to see that. I would want to see exactly what people think we want to see. Big E Langston winning makes more sense than people do think. I'm sure that Axel needs to keep it because it's too soon. But then again, who wants to see Curtis Axel as IC champion anymore? I am just saying that from you guys, the fans out there. Do you want to see this guy as champion knowing he just fuck all with that championship? I'm just saying, Big E Langston will be more active as there is more heels to go after it. Nonetheless, I'll give Big E Langston the win on this one, but the fact this is not on a pre-show when the match I'm about to talk about next is on the card is a slap in the face to the idea of what a fucking pre-show is meant to be. Real Americans taking on Los Matadors. Now, Los Matadors, of course, have been making waves by making 3MB look weaker and shitter than they ever have been. The fact of the matter is, they are over team. And the fact of the matter, the story having something for the Real Americans with their original idea of their gimmick to fight against someone who fits into that category is good for them. Gives them a reason. Gives Zeb Coulter a reason to at least keep venting. The fact of the matter is, the only reason this is actually on the card is pretty much just to give Antonio Cesaro another bloody giant swing spot. And honestly, if that's the only reason they've stuck this on the card, then I'm annoyed. However, there is one thing I want to suggest here. Because, of course, if this match is also a #1 contendership match, then why couldn't they have made it added some more teams? Like maybe because we haven't seen primetime players in a while, couldn't we have added them to something? But then again, they're not involved in this feud. So why the hell am I asking? But then again, they could have added Tons of Funk. Because these guys have been involved with Tons of Funk before, the last couple of weeks. And 3MB have also been involved. So they could have made this like a fatal four-way tag roulette or something to enable a number one contender to be crowned. But no, if they give Los Matadors a tag team title shot at the next pay-per-view based on a win here, it might be, again, too soon, because they haven't really shown their chance against a variety of opponents. Real Americans, though, I would like to see them get something, because, okay, they've won a couple of times against Tons of Funk, they've won against 3MB, they've won against other teams. But the thing that I want to see is the Real Americans having some venom in them, some bite. But the problem is, Los Matadors being a face team who have just debuted, are they likely to do that? Are they likely to lose? No. And the honest opinion is, I like Los Matadors. I just don't like that their mascot is getting more of an ovation than they are. They're good wrestlers, with a good gimmick by the looks of it. And the fact of the matter is, to see a bull at their side be more over than they are is a bit disappointing. The fact of the matter is, I don't know where this match is going to go from here. Because if the Real Americans lose, Los Matadors can just clean up the feud and be off with it. With the Real Americans winning, I can see them going after a face team if they win the tag team title match later on, and going on to do something. Like maybe Real Americans joining up with the corporation to take on whoever wins that. And I just feel the Real Americans winning gives them much more of a purpose, because, okay, they were bickering and shouting at each other at the end of the last match on who managed to get the win. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if they're going to be teasing a descent, at least do it on a big tag scenario in a tag team match. Give Real Americans a tag match and a title shot, and give them a chance to highlight themselves. And if they lose and they break up, it'll give a big enough reason to. Unlike the whimper that Rhodes Scholars ended up getting before they had to reunite. That kind of thing. The fact of the matter is, I want to see the Real Americans win it for the hell of it. Especially the fact of the matter, if we've got a tag team match later in the evening where a face team is likely to win, to counterbalance that with a a heel win would make it very, very interesting indeed. So guys, I'm going to give the Real Americans on this one. I'm not that interested in this match. In fact, the fact it's on the card anyway, when the IC title match is on the pre-show, is irritating. But nonetheless, if it's a reason to see Cesaro spin the crap out of that bull, then I'll be fine as hell to see it. Next, we have AJ Lee versus Brie Bella for the WWE Divas Championship. Now, this is annoying again. I will give Brie Bella her props. In the ring, she has improved. I will give her the props, because I gave her props at the last match that they had, at the last pay-per-view. The problem with this, and it's a problem I've had since the beginning with this, is again, I am not convinced by their idea of making AJ the heel and the Bellas the face. I am still unconvinced by it. Still unconvinced. Because AJ as a heel makes you, in a way, want to cheer for her. The Bella twins, you just got this impression that they're complete skanks. And that's the reason why they were hated. And to be honest, they are still. I mean, if you really think you can turn a skank and polish it and turn it into a nice sparkling diamond, then there's no way you're going to be able to think straight. AJ Lee is the face of the Divas division, and to be honest with you, she hasn't at the moment got anyone big enough to face her. And I want to see, okay, Natalya versus AJ, we were teased it, but we never got it. We were teased Natalya versus AJ, but we're not going to get it. I mean, sure, we might get it at the next pay-per-view. Who knows? All I know is AJ Lee winning just makes some form of sense here, because she's not a heel to me, so it makes sense for her to win. But Brie Bella winning, what will that do? Will that just make AJ go completely batshit and violently attack her and leaving her a bit disfigured in the face? I mean, will Tamina completely beat the crap out of them and then set up a tag team Divas match with or maybe even supplying a heels versus face Survivor Series Diva tag match for the next pay-per-view? There are some ways they could go further with this, but I hope they don't. I want to see something fresh. After 2 in a row with Brie Bella and her being shoved down our throats, I want to see AJ fight someone else. Because, okay, while Brie Bella has improved in the ring, I'm not that impressed with her position in the storyline. Especially seeing that Nikki isn't getting the same treatment. Yeah, you marry a superstar, you then become a championship contender. What's going to happen next? Oh yeah, AJ did the same by snogging them all. Anyway, fact of the matter is, AJ Lee for the win here. I can't see Brie Bella winning on any stretch. any stretch of my imagination, folks. If I see her win, it will be shocking to see it. Trust me. If Brie does win, I will eat my hat, or whatever hat I end up having at the time. Next, we have the WWE Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match, involving Cody Rhodes and Goldust, the Usos, and The Shield. Now, of course, I was very confused when Cody Rhodes and Goldust won the championship. I was confused that the Usos were overseen, because then again, Cody Rhodes and Goldust were fired by Cody Rhodes and Goldust had their problems with Triple H. So why would the brass at the top give them an opportunity to succeed and make them even more pissed off? That's one of the reasons I found this a little bit hard to believe. But then again, the fact that they've included the Usos in this, as they were the #1 contenders, highlights that, yeah, they didn't completely forget them. They've done this before, so I would not be surprised if it had actually gone the way I thought. But the Usos, they're over-ish. They've gotten more time in the tag team spotlight than they have in the last couple of years, and it's good to see two face teams against one heel team in a triple threat match, because usually it's two heels and a face. I find that quite refreshing, especially when you although there's one difference in that. Survivor Series 09, when you had Triple H, Shawn Michaels and John Cena in the same match, that was three faces in one match, so okay, it can be modified, but still. The one problem I have with this match is, even though it looks likely to be a good match, because triple threat, anything involving tag teams is just going to go and descend into complete anarchy, I'm hoping it's Tornado Tag, because if it isn't, that's going to really slow this match down, and I want this to be complete anarchy. I want this to be madness. I want to see these tag teams go completely insane. Go just defying all expectations, just doing all the big moves and big spots you know they can do. And the fact of the matter is, if they're just standing there, waiting for big hot tags, the audience will have to be dragged out. They won't feel very happy about it. And that's just me saying that, folks. Honestly, the other problem I have with this is the fact that Cody Rhodes and Goldust, while it may have been such a fantastic moment on Raw a couple of weeks ago, and the fact that they have actually been given time on Raw to win it, and the Tag Team Championship win meant something for the first time in a long time, they should not have it taken off them so quickly, unless someone involved with Triple H and their brass enables the Shield to win. And the only thing I could see is the Shield maybe unveiling a new member or something. But then again, we've said that we've given up on the idea that there's going to be another member in the Shield. It ain't going to happen. Cody Rhodes and Goldust are too early to lose the championships. I would definitely say they are the favourites to win here, and to be honest with you, no one can deny it. They're going to keep the championships, and if, like I said, if the Real Americans beat Los Matadors, I can totally see a Real Americans versus Cody Rhodes and Goldust Tag Team Championship match in the future. Hell, I could even see that against the Usos, because they are technically from Samoa, even though it's part of America. It's American Samoa. Would Real Americans go against that? Who knows? I mean, that's an idea. Honestly, it's just something interesting. I mean, I don't know which one of those face teams would be best to go over a Tag Team Championship feud in the future with Real Americans or whoever else heel team they've got. But Cody Rhodes and Goldust winning just seems like the most obvious answer. If it isn't the most obvious answer, then what the hell is wrong with me? Just saying. Next, we have Alberto Del Rio versus John Cena for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this matchup is interesting, because primarily, I don't know where this is going to appear on the card. That's my main beef with this. It's John Cena, so people immediately think it's going to be somewhere high up. It's a highly hyped return that took up a lot of video and talk space on Raw and possibly SmackDown. The fact of the matter is, this is a World Heavyweight Championship bout. So would it be in the middle of the card, or somewhere up top like I've already said? Alberto Del Rio as champion hasn't been the best. We can pretty much guarantee it's been quite dull. And seeing John Cena as champion again, for the first time in a while, someone could say Cena being champion will be refreshing. In the World Heavyweight title scene, it is especially needed, knowing that Del Rio has been in every single World Heavyweight Championship match on pay-per-view since the beginning of the damn year. Since the Royal Rumble, Del Rio has been involved in every single World Heavyweight Championship match. And the fact of the matter is, that's a lack of diversity at the top of the top of the bloody title scene there. And John Cena being there gives it some hope. But the main question, again, is where this will be in the card. Because I know WWE, this is heavily hyped. Are they going to possibly put this later on in the card? The handicap Hell in a Cell match goes on before this. They then have the Divas Championship match to segue in between. John Cena versus Del Rio. Then you've got a tag team title triple threat match, and then you've got the main event. Is that going to be how it is? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, John Cena winning is pretty much an inevitability. I know that with Damien Sandow possibly turning face and showing the glimpses of that, him cashing in over Cena will not be the right move. If, however, he's just doing that as a ruse to show people who he is worth, and then he goes after Cena, beats him and highlights, you know what, he ain't your golden boy anymore, that would be pretty useful to see. However, Del Rio winning is not so far out of the question, because remember, the building of this storyline is primarily around whether John Cena has returned too soon. And of course, he has returned too soon, but if you take that into kayfabe perspective for a minute, he is going to return a couple of months after taking some time off. He is being booked to not be in the best physical condition. Del Rio is going to target that arm like there is no tomorrow. He is going to hit that arm with everything he bloody has. And in that process, he's going to make himself, to be honest, like Daniel Bryan did at SummerSlam, look quite strong. And that's going to make me a very happy guy, because that means I will see some really, really nice psychology. Selling from Cena, working from Del Rio, and possibly vice versa on the other end. This makes me really say to myself, if WWE are building it that way, Del Rio needs to win it to highlight Cena's weakness so he has a reason to fight back at the next pay-per-view and get the championship. But then again, a lot of people are thinking WWE would not bring back so much hype to make Cena lose. But then again, that's exactly what, in many sports, things do turn out to be. A fighter makes his comeback, or a boxer makes his comeback, or a football player makes his comeback, or a Michael Schumacher makes their comeback, and they end up not returning to former glory. They end up doing really quite badly and faltering in their ability to do their job. I mean, Michael Schumacher did really rubbish in 3 years at Mercedes upon his return to Formula 1, so John Cena returning after an injury or time off to then not do very well would also give John Cena the psychological downheartening that we've actually been waiting to see for ages. Last year, he said it was his worst year, and yet he still won Superstar of the Year. That was not well done. This, however, could rectify the mistakes made by that, and say that, yeah, you returned too soon, you idiot. You've decided to come back, and you're going to pay for the mistake you've made in believing you're ready. And that'll make Del Rio even more over as a heel, because to be honest with you, if there's one person who can insult John Cena's methods of being himself, it is Del Rio. And it will and also Del Rio and Cena have good chemistry in the ring, so I am looking forward to seeing how this goes. But the fact of the matter is, it's all on that psychology of whether Cena can do it or not. Whether he can and will win the championship back. And I want to say John Cena will win, but it would make such a better story if John Cena lost. But then again, is that going to happen? WWE, in my eyes, would not do that. But it's such a good idea. John Cena will get the win. I am annoyed to even have to mention it, because that idea of him losing, I'm not saying he will lose because I don't like Cena. You guys heard my opinions in my Q&A. I'm actually okay with Cena. You guys know that. I want him to lose because it makes a better story. Is that really too much to ask? But then again, WWE, they're not going to do it. They're not going to build this return for it. They're not going to do that at all. So I will give John Cena the victory here. I will be happy either way. Because John Cena as world champion makes that title scene more interesting, because a big guy is now in there. And Del Rio, if he wins, again, it gives John Cena a legitimate psychological bouncing point to say, you know what, I've been beaten down, I probably came back too soon, but you know what, you caught me on an off day, I'm going to come back and whip your ass. And at Survivor Series, he will win the damn championship, if that does happen. And that's exactly the kind of thing that we need right now. A top face looking a bit weak, because that's what we need, and John Cena hasn't looked that for a long time. So you know what? Give us that, and I'll be the happiest person on earth, and it'll probably add a few extra psychology ratings to the match rating on Sunday evening. Then again, John Cena winning would also add its own story that he's come back from a massive injury and then managed to do what he's done, and it'd be amazing to tell that story. That he even with all the doubters, he's managed to win it and prove he's got what it takes to still go, even with that injury lingering. So you know what? Give it to John Cena, and I would not be disappointed in the slightest. Next, we have the handicap Hell in a Cell match between CM Punk, Ryback, and Paul Heyman. Now, this match, of course, remember, last year at Hell in a Cell, we had Punk versus Ryback, when Punk was a heel and Ryback was a face. And of course, as you know, the tables are now switched. We are now seeing the exact same match from last year, and we're getting what we technically deserved to get the first time round. Anyway, the reason I'm excited about this match is knowing what CM Punk can and will do in a hardcore environment. Since his hardcore matches have been pretty much some of the best hardcore offerings since the PG rating officially took hold. And the fact of the matter is, to see Ryback getting beaten up is no doozy. It's going to be a pretty aggressive thing, because of course Ryback being a strong-ass guy in a caged environment, he fits the bill for it. And I think getting Ryback out of the way shouldn't be too hard for Punk, but of course the size difference, the strength difference, and Heyman obviously helping at every point, just hiding around the ring, throwing in weapons from underneath the ring. Ryback possibly could burst open the cell and they could go on the roof, you know, like they did before, but actually do it within the parameters of the match. That would seem very interesting. It would show that this match will go completely out of control from the moment Punk enters it. And that's exactly what we want. We don't want this to be strictly confined to the cell. Punk is getting his one last chance that he was given, and he is going to take it to make sure Ryback and Heyman pay for what they have done to him. So you know what? Ryback getting the shit beaten out of him, and Ryback beating the shit out of Punk over the course of this match, where they are completely unhinged, they are completely at odds with each other to rip each other apart. It would make perfect sense. So don't just keep these two in the middle of the ring and just have them standardly wrestle each other. There's more psychology needed than that. Go and use the cell. That's what I'm saying. Use the damn cell. But of course, that leaves Paul Heyman. Because obviously it's going to be CM Punk versus Ryback until Heyman is needed. Now, of course, this is not an elimination handicap match. I don't think. It hasn't been stated. I mean, actually, I'm thinking it might be. If it is, then it will be Heyman and Punk on their own. However, here's an interesting fact. If the cell is broken, like I have already mentioned, and they do not fix it, this lines up perfectly the return of Brock Lesnar. This is the thing, because Heyman, as the cunning, balding fox that he is, the man who is slightly insane, and being the genius that he is, he will always have a plan B. Curtis Axel may be beaten earlier on in the show, and if Ryback gets put out of commission, so what? To Heyman, anyone is disposable. To Heyman, anyone is disposable. Seriously, if you look back at Survivor Series 2002, he turned heel and joined forces with the Big Show mid-match against Brock Lesnar. Anyone in Heyman's repertoire is to hell. In fact, the matter after that, Kurt Angle won the championship, and then he left Big Show to join up with Angle. Seriously, for Heyman, anyone is disposable. So Ryback and Axel, he wouldn't really care about them if he's left on his own with no one to defend him. Brock Lesnar could easily return and make Punk's life a living hell by having Heyman win in that cell. I mean, sure, people are saying we want this CM Punk Heyman rivalry to end at the Hell in a Cell. To be honest with you, it's one of those career-ending matches where you need it. It's one of those feud-ending matches that you need it. Problem I have with that, though, it really doesn't seem like it's going to end. I mean, sure, Punk is going to get his hands on Heyman. We're going to see Heyman get his ass kicked. But the fact of the matter is, does that mean we're going to see Punk win it? No. Because we saw Punk win, albeit controversially, at the last pay-per-view. Now, usually when a face wins a match in a feud, they effectively get the feud finished. This doesn't seem like a point to finish it for me. They're going to carry it to the Survivor Series, and if Brock Lesnar is involved, it makes sense to do so, because Punk needs to beat Lesnar to beat everyone. He's beaten Axel multiple times. He's beaten Ryback once on pay-per-view, and he's going to beat him again by the looks of it. If he has to beat Brock Lesnar, that means we're going to see a complete and true end. We're going to see a true end to the feud. And that would be beneficial to see Punk get one over on Lesnar and say, look, Heyman, I defeated all of them. I defeated every single one of your guys. You are now defenseless. And then we get to see the beatdown. I mean, this Hell in a Cell match, I'm hoping, allows Punk to do something. Because that's the beauty of being inside the Hell in a Cell. You can do a lot and get away with anything. Imagine Heyman having to scurry up the cell and then have to get beaten up by Punk on top of it, allowing Lesnar to come in from out of nowhere and then do the F5 on top of the cell to Punk, allowing for Heyman to cover and get the victory. How, one, controversial, how, two, exciting would that be? I mean, while it is the consensus, Punk winning will end the feud, I just do not see it. I see this being a quite aggressive, physical, and quite violent match in the PG era. The fact of the matter is, though, I do not see Punk winning this. Once again, on pay-per-view, I am against Punk winning. What the hell's up with that? Aren't I supposed to be the CM Punk fanboy that you guys know I am? Who knows? The fact of the matter is, I'm making some form of sense. Ryback and Heyman winning this makes more sense to me than Punk winning. Because, again, if Lesnar is going to get involved in something, I would not want him to turn up in the... Okay, sure, him turning up at the Royal Rumble would be pretty awesome in its own right. Setting up a Punk-Lesnar rematch. That would be up in the air for something. I mean, hell, we don't even know what Lesnar is doing for WrestleMania. So, it would make sense if he's not doing anything at the Royal Rumble. Wouldn't it be interesting to see Punk and Lesnar at this pay-per-view setting up a Survivor Series match? It would be interesting for me. I'm hoping it'll be interesting for you guys too. So you know what, I'm going to give it to Ryback and Heyman. I'm pretty much the only person in the YWC making videos of this who really is thinking that. I will be surprised. I will be surprised that anyone says it will be Ryback and Heyman, because it's just so... It looks so obvious that Punk is going to win, but just like at the last pay-per-view, it looked so obvious that it didn't happen. This is the same reasoning and the same point that I'm putting forward for this. It looks so obvious, but my god, it will go in the opposite direction. Ryback and Heyman are going to win this, and that is pretty much it. If you guys can convince me otherwise, then put your comment in the comment section, because I honestly, I'm going to pretty much say if this is the only prediction I am legitimately saying will happen, I'm going with it. Right, now it's time for the main event. The match we are all looking forward to, and honestly, the whole WWE audience wants a legitimate, clean finish. Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan inside Hell in a Cell for the vacant WWE Championship, with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. Now this, I've said it before on many of these guys' matches, whether it be Battleground or Night of Champions or even the notion of Triple H and John Cena at the SummerSlam. I keep saying to myself, we haven't seen an overblown, overbooked clusterfuck. Now that's the one thing I have said to myself I've been missing. I've had that for the last 2 pay-per-views running. That's what this match and what this entire feud needs. And knowing where this could go for Survivor Series with a Team Triple H versus Team McMahon or Team whoever match, and the winner gets overall control for a while or something like that, is a good payoff for Survivor Series. But we do need a proper WWE champion, because we need one. We haven't had one since, well, Night of Champions. We need a champion. So who? Who is it going to be? And that's the reason why I am a little bit confused by this match. I don't know who to go for, because Daniel Bryan needs that victory. He needs it more than Orton does. But Orton winning will do something that they haven't done since Bryan won the title the first time. And actually won it the second time, I should say. Because since Night of Champions, on pay-per-view, Corporation haven't looked very strong. Orton doesn't look strong at all. But the main factor in this is Shawn Michaels. What the hell is he going to do? I don't get the idea of him turning heel. I don't understand the idea of him turning heel. There's no point in him turning heel. I wouldn't want to see it personally. I don't think it's going to happen at all. But honestly, this match, I want to see more psychology than I have in recent times with these guys. I want to see more aggression, more moves, more body selling. Because these guys, even though I know they have very good chemistry together, they are a good match for each other in the ring. And we've seen them wrestle a shit ton this year, whether it be in the build-up to Payback and then so forth. We've seen these guys wrestle each other a hell of a lot, and we know how good they are. So why have their matches recently turned into something which is a bit uneventful and a bit anticlimactic in Hell in a Cell with such story and such massive prize up for grabs? We need to see these guys go all out. Because this will be the last time these two face in a one-on-one contest with each other, for a while. And I want to see this be what I think it could be, and that'll be a really intense, really aggressive, and really well-made match. But the fact of the matter is, will Shawn Michaels do what many think he's going to do? Will he super kick Randy Orton and make Bryan win? Will he super kick Bryan, allowing Orton to win, saying, you know what, Triple H paid me to do something, I have to trust my best friend here? Will anyone else come out? Will Big Show come in and wreak havoc? We don't know. I mean, people saying it's pretty much a foregone conclusion, but then again, how is he going to get it? Okay, he got in with a semi before, but Jesus Christ, there's going to be some. Then again, there was a giant cell, but then again, he could easily rip off the door. Will we see McMahon return? Will we see Triple H go out there and go nuts? See, this is the reason why I keep thinking there's a good reason why making this an overblown clusterfuck now works, because it gives that idea of unpredictability and the fact that we don't really know where this entire storyline is going after this. Because I can tell if Daniel Bryan wins, Triple H will be pissed and probably find another way to try and get rid of it off him. If Orton wins, Triple H is going to be as smug as hell, he's not going to want to do much else, and it's going to be pretty darn funny. The fact of the matter is, I really have no idea. Simple. This match is going to be unpredictable because I don't know where this goes from here. Sure, we're probably going to see a multi-man Survivor Series elimination match at Survivor Series involving both of these two men in it. We are going to. Pretty much a guarantee. If we don't, I'll be amazed. I'll be surprised. And honestly, this is going to be the main event. This is going to be the crowning moment of the pay-per-view that people will remember by. I don't want to see the IWC venting if Randy Orton wins, because he hasn't won since he became, apart from the Money in the Bank cash, and he hasn't won since becoming the corporation's face. He hasn't been. And if he needs a win, he's going to need it now. Because if he doesn't get it now, when's he going to get it? When's he going to look strong? When's he going to look strong on pay-per-view in front of the audience? When's he going to do that? Daniel Bryan has looked strong everywhere, and the fact of the matter is, on Raw, Daniel Bryan was the one standing, and that gives, again, Wrestling 101 is the person who is usually the one cheering and standing at the end of the pay-per-view, end of the show, going into the pay-per-view, is the one that will lose. It doesn't always turn out that way, but it happened with CM Punk at the last pay-per-view. It's going to happen here. And that's the problem. Everything points to Daniel Bryan losing, but the crowd reception that Daniel Bryan will get upon winning this will be ridiculous. And it would make sense for Shawn Michaels to pass the torch over to his guy that he trained and is now saying, you know what, kid? You've done it. You're at the top of the WWE. And it would just be a great moment. But then, of course, if that does happen, the accusations of bias will be all over Raw the next night. And it makes it unpredictable because I don't know what the hell they're going to do with that. I want to say Daniel Bryan is going to win this. I do. But I need the corporation to look strong on pay-per-view for once and not have to resort to underhand tactics the next night to ensure that Daniel Bryan doesn't get what he desires. We need to see Daniel Bryan get put down a peg. Because then if it does go to that Survivor Series elimination match at Survivor Series, we will have a reason to want to see Daniel Bryan win this. People want the resolution of this storyline a little too soon. Same with Same with Punk and Ryback and Heyman. They want to see the match end result now because they're desperate to let out their joy. They're desperate to let out everything behind this character that they love so much. They don't want to keep it buried in themselves. But then again, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, Daniel Bryan winning at Survivor Series would be impressive. I mean, losing in Hell in a Cell, Orton's got a pretty much a winning record. Well, since 05, since the PG Hell in a Cells have kicked in, Orton's got a winning record in these things. So I would really say to people, give Orton a chance here. Orton is pretty much, in my eyes, guaranteed a win. So give it to him. I know the fans want to see Bryan win and get his ability to get over these corporation guys, but come on. Even I will say it is not right now. Last pay-per-view I said it wasn't the right time. Night of Champions I said it wasn't the right time. And again, I am saying it now. The chase is better than defending the championship. The chase is what we are liking. We want to see the corporation be hit down a peg on the weekly show, so when it comes to the pay-per-view, he has a chance. But Big Show has been doing most of the knocking. Daniel Bryan looks a bit insignificant. So honestly, Orton winning would actually be quite good for me. Because then I get to see Daniel Bryan actually prove himself going into this big Survivor Series elimination match, or a one last match, or whatever it is. I just can see Orton winning from like a mile away. And people are just saying, oh, Daniel Bryan needs to win it for the center of the story. If John Cena doesn't win, if John Cena does not win, like I've said before, if he does not win at this pay-per-view, then you can pretty much guarantee Bryan will win. If John Cena wins, Orton will win. Good Mike Work said it. People are going to vent if Orton and Cena walk out as champions, but for the love of God, it makes sense if one of them did. If one of them walked out as champion, I don't care which combination, if it's Del Rio and Orton, if it's Del Rio and Bryan, or Cena and Orton. I do not care which combination it is. But all I know, I am pretty much confirming my thought here. If John Cena is going to win, like I've said already, then Randy Orton is going to win on the other end. It makes sense, and to be honest with you, seeing Daniel Bryan win, and if he does win at Survivor Series, it will mean more. Especially knowing how many buy rates Survivor Series can get. So I will give Randy Orton the win here. And Shawn Michaels, he will call it down the middle. Trust me, if he does not do that, once again, if I'll buy another hat, I'll eat that one as well. Randy Orton for the win. That is that. And guys, I am done here. I'm hoping you enjoyed my predictions. What are yours? Put your comments in the comment section, your video responses. There's a lot you can do. Anyway, fact of the matter is, guys, if you want to check out my stuff, including my blogs and social medias, and get in touch with me on Twitter and all that, go to my social media links. They're on the screen now, but if you don't want to have to copy them down, they're in the description box. Also, subscribe to CCVGP. I'm going to get some content done, and I've got a little announcement to bring on that channel in the next week. So you guys have got to keep your eyes peeled, subscribe, and you will find out what that announcement is. Guys, I have been Cream Crazy. You've been people listening. This has been my Hell in a Cell 2013 predictions video. And I will see you on Sunday for the review, Sunday for the pay-per-view, and Monday for the review itself. I will tell you though, there might be a chance I might miss it at the beginning because I have to get back from the Comic-Con on the same day. So I'm going to be exhausted. So I hope you guys, if I end up being a bit late for this, don't worry about it. That's all I'm going to say. Cream Crazy's Wrestling Rant. I keep getting my bloody catchphrase wrong. Let me repeat that again. Cream Crazy's Wrestling Rant, representing professionalism in the YWC since 2010, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers!